one for the Chippewas. Going to hand it off to Gwilly, and he fights his way into the end zone. Central Michigan. Gwilly with the rushing touchdown for the Chippewas. That's his first as a member of the CMU football team.
Central Michigan competed in their final non-conference game of 2017 on Saturday. Unfortunately, a tough loss for the Chippewas in Boston. We'll give you the breakdown and the highlights coming up next on Chippewa Rewind. Welcome into another edition of Chippewa Rewind with head coach John Bonamego. I'm Adam Jacksa. Tough one on Saturday at Chestnut Hill, 28-8 loss. Coach, when you went back and looked at the tape, what were the factors that you thought affected the game most?
Turnovers, penalties, missed opportunities. It's a funny game sometimes how little things really catch up to you. I worked for a coach one time that said, elephants don't bite, mosquitoes do. Really, a lot of times, the little things that you don't do well, or the things that you think are routine, if you don't execute at the highest level, then those things can certainly and will certainly come back to bite you. And we had a lot of evidence of that yesterday. I thought our team played very hard. It was a physical game. I thought our defense overall played well enough to win. We put them in some really bad situations with our special teams, with our punt unit. Offensively, again, we just struggled to sustain drives and get the ball in the end zone. We have some things that we have to continue to address. I think the health of our team should get better here in the next couple weeks. We should get some guys back in the lineup, and that certainly will help. However, we can't allow ourselves to use that as an excuse. We have to learn how to execute so that we can win consistently.
All right, well, let's take a look at the highlights inside Alumni Stadium in Chestnut Hill on Saturday. It started off well for you. Now, this was a play where you get to delay a game. You were going to go for it, but it ends up working out. A great punt by Jack Sheldon pins him inside the one.
Yeah, I would have rather had the first down had we gone for it. This is a really good punt. I think Gary Jones is the one right there that cages the ball, tips it back. We've got about 4 or 5 chips there ready to down it at the one. Great play in the game. It set up the next thing, which was a safety, so 2 points came off of that. There were actually 16 points that came off of punt plays in yesterday's game. Unfortunately, 14 of those went to Boston College.
Well, let's take a look at this one right here. Brisson Fass, as you mentioned, gets the first safety of the year for your team. What did you see on this play?
This is a great call down here. Really, Amari's the guy that kind of gets it going. He comes on a corner blitz there, makes the back redirect, and B Fass is right there to make the tackle for safety. It's a great job by the defense. Set it up again by the great special teams play to start it off.
2-0 Central Michigan early in that first quarter. You're unable to score when they kick off to you once again, and this is what you mentioned, special teams playing a part. For them, unfortunately, they get a big return here.
Yeah, and we've been really, really good. I think we're in the top 10 in the country prior to this game. This ball's mishit. Obviously, Jack would love to have this one back. This was supposed to be a low roller to the left, so there's not enough hang time on this. It's a very, very, probably the worst situation you can have for your punt coverage.
Pepsi does track him down. It was 1st and goal from the 6. They punch it in a couple of plays later. So Boston College takes the 7-2 lead. 5 minutes left in the first. This was a great job by your defense. They get a stop on a 4th down for BC, but a roughing the passer call.
This was a big play. Again, we've got to play smarter. We've got to understand situations and know that when you're on the road and you've got officials from the opposite conference, you're not going to get a lot of calls. That was one that could have gone in either way, and they end up scoring. So, again, there's another 7 points off of a mistake that we made when we had made a play to get off the field and stop them.
Yeah, instead of driving behind 7-2, as you mentioned, now 14-2 as BC punches it in again. Some positive news for you. Kumino Gawili, the redshirt freshman, had a breakout day. Here's a sprint up the middle for 33.
Well, this is a tremendous job up front. We get a good look in the box, You notice how square his shoulders are when he hits this thing downhill. He's good anticipation. He's able to burst through the hole into the open field, and once he's got a head of steam, you know, it's going to take a little few bodies to get him down. He's a powerful young man. Looking forward to great things for him, not only the rest of this year, but also in the future for Kumino.
240-pound back, tough to bring him down indeed, and this drive keeps progressing along. Jonathan Ward up the sideline here for 18.
Yeah, this is a nice job by Shane getting the ball out of his hand quickly. You know, we release Jonathan into the flat. He's able to get it to him, so he's got time to turn it up the sideline and gain more positive yards, and we're down in the red zone.
Play here where it's 3rd and 11. Looks like you may have to settle for a field goal, but Morris able to find Chapman to keep the drive moving.
Again, vertical concept here from a tight alignment. Chap gets up the hash. Shane sees an opening there for a back shoulder throw. He makes a great throw, and Chap makes a catch, and we're down on the 1-yard line.
We just talked about Kumino Gwilly having a nice day. Here he gets his first career touchdown as a Chippewa.
Yeah, well, you know, he kind of got the thing started there with the big run, so we wanted to go back to him down here. Again, powerful man once he gets behind those pads, which, you know, that's really the thing that I saw him improve the most from a year ago and through spring and then training camp is he's running more, you know, behind his pads rather than underneath his pads. So, you know, he's a strong man, 240 pounds going in one direction. It's going to take a sizable force to stop him.
Makes it 14-8. You do go for 2, and Poljan catches it, but he's just a step out of bounds. They had one more touchdown late. It's 21-8 at the break. And, Coach, I know we talked at halftime, but you still felt like your team was in it and had a chance in that second half.
It really did. I mean, it was a matter of we had to execute a little bit better. You know, disappointingly, they went on a long drive to start the second half. And, again, we just kept finding ways to hurt ourselves in the second half with turnovers.
All right, when we come back, we'll take a look at the second half, and later on, we catch up with strength and conditioning coach Jason Novak to see how he ended up in Mount Pleasant. Stay with us. Come out and support Central Michigan in their next home game 3 weeks from today on Saturday, October 14th. The Chippewas welcome in the Toledo Rockets to Kelly Short Stadium. Game time is at 3:30, and it's homecoming for CMU. This is the final Saturday home game, so claim your seats before it's too late. You can purchase tickets by visiting Ticket Central, calling 1-888-FIRE-UP2, or by visiting CMUChippewas.com. Once again, we hope to see you at Kelly Short Stadium on October 14th for homecoming against Toledo. Kickoff is at 3:30. Back on Chippewa Rewind for the start of the second half. It's 21-8, and before we start the highlights, Coach, the offense, it's been struggling the last couple of weeks, whether it's been stalling in the red zone or just not been able to go on drives. What have you seen that needs to change for them in the future?
We got to catch passes. We have to execute better. You know, you're going to see an example coming up here, probably 2 or more of them where, you know, we're not on the same page. So we are, the quarterback's got to trust the receivers are going to come open in an area. You don't wait for receivers to come open. You throw them open. Those windows are tight a lot of times, and you know, if you're just off by one person in the scheme, it can lead to a negative outcome. And certainly we've experienced some of that. You know, again, in the red zone, when we've gotten the ball down into the tight red zone and goal line situations, there's been a couple of times where we hadn't been able to get the ball in the end zone. But I'd say that, you know, the drop passes and the turnovers are the 2 things that have hurt us the most.
So 21-8, Boston College had some success running in this second half. They get an early touchdown to go in front, 28-8. You're driving once again at midfield, and Shane gets some pressure, and they make a nice play and get a pick off a tip.
Yeah, this was, again, the pocket collapsed on them quickly. The back's got to do a better job of stepping up to stop the blitzing linebacker there. You know, when Shane now has to slide in the pocket, you know, it's got pressure from the outside. He's trying to get the ball out. It's fumbled. Got to possess the football, take it away from the other team.
They did indeed call it an interception. Score stays the same as the possession changes. Then you have it back again, mounting a drive. Tony Poljan was a great surprise. A lot of the fans hadn't seen what he could do as a wide receiver, but you guys implemented him and he did well.
Before we run the video, I just want to make a point very clear. Tony's a quarterback. He knows that. That's why we recruited him here. But he's also a phenomenal athlete. And, you know, I started off the year saying and I told everybody that we were going to try to get Tony Poljan on the field, that it was important for his development. We're just starting to give him a little bit of a bigger role. You know, he's obviously proven yesterday that he's worthy of that, and we'll just continue to find different ways, creative ways to use him.
A couple of nice catches from Tony down the sideline. The drive does stall after a missed field goal from Armstrong. And then the last chance here, driving at the end, and Shane gets picked off again, trying to find Jonathan.
Yes, you're going to see here a vertical concept. You know, he's expecting Jonathan to run the tilt route, so a little miscommunication there. Ball probably did sail on him a little bit high. Again, it's a combination of, you know, one or more things that aren't just exactly right, and the results of turnover for Boston College.
Final score from BC, 28-8, and Coach, you know, it's tough right now. You guys have lost 3 in a row, but you've been in every game, at least for a half, had chances to win and couldn't pull through. What do you tell your team at this moment in time, trying to move on to the conference slate?
Well, we control our own destiny, number one. Number two, as evidence, again, when you look at it, there are things that, you know, are largely self-inflicted and that are very correctable. And so if we can just continue to work hard, continue to commit ourselves to the process, and do that knowing that there's never any guarantees, but that's the only way you're going to get back on track.
Next week is a new one for Central Michigan and your team. We'll preview Ohio when we come back, but first, we talk to the strength and conditioning coach here at Central Michigan, Jason Novak. Stay with us.
I remember when I was looking at schools, my dad told me that when I found the right one, I would definitely know, and it was going to be a feeling. And when I was here, it felt like home, and the people here, they felt like family. And I remember being in the bookstore, and I was picking out all this apparel, but I was like, what, do you think you're coming here or something? I was like, you know, matter of fact, I think I am.
I would like to say thank you so much for all of your support and donations that you've given to our university over the course of the years. We look forward to making you proud on and off the field, not only the football team, but all of the athletic programs at our university, and we promise to make you proud.
I'd like to personally thank you for your support and investment in Central Michigan athletics. Your generosity allows our student athletes to compete on a national level, academically, athletically, and personally. Once again, thank you for your support, and fire up Chips.
I grew up as a coach's son, and he coached football for a lot of years, my dad did, and going to work with my dad, you always kind of got sent to the weight room, you know, out of sight, out of mind, don't get in anybody's way. And so I would go sit in the weight room when I'd go with him. And, I watched the players come through. I watched the strength coach. The person in particular was Steve Watterson with the Houston Oilers. And I just thought it was the greatest job ever. I was like, he got to work with every player on the team. He knew every guy. And I was like, that's what I want to do. Yeah, growing up as a coach's kid was different because you move around quite a bit, so you learn how to be the new kid really quickly. And so it was good. I wouldn't change anything about it, and it's given me an opportunity to live a lot of different places and know a lot of different parts of the country. And now with my family, you know, we've kind of chosen where we want to be based a little bit off of that and where we'd like to settle down and raise a family.
Jason Novak has traveled all across the country, but when it came to his next job, he decided on Mount Pleasant and Central Michigan University.
I went to school at Stephen F. Austin State University, known as SFA. Went to undergrad there, went to grad school at Baylor, and that's where I met my wife. And then right out of college, I got a head strength job at Alabama State University in Montgomery. I was there for 3 years, went to Yale, was there for a little over a year, then got the opportunity to go to the Titans, so I was there for 11 years. And then that's when I got the opportunity to come here, and that was a big family decision to make that move and come back to college athletics, and so we've been here now. This is my 3rd season, and I've been here a little over 2 years. So I have a staff of 3 other full-time guys, and they do an outstanding job. And so my role here is I oversee directly the programming for football. And then in conjunction with those 3 guys, I'm more of the director of the strength and conditioning department. And then my duties really are as a lot of oversight and just management and direction and philosophy and things like that for the program, so that everybody is being trained under the same umbrella as far as philosophy goes, and training style and methodologies and things like that, so that everybody's on the same page. And then we get specific as far as the sports that we're working with and the athletes that we're working with, and certain cases that come up and rehabs and things like that that come up on a daily basis, so that we're making sure that we're all on the same page as far as the care and the treatment and the training that the athletes get when they come in our weight room.
Novak doesn't just talk about improving student athletes' physique and overall body composition, he backs it up with excellent results as well.
In athletes, the ages aren't that different. The freshmen are 18, but our seniors right now, our fifth-year seniors, they're a year or two younger than the majority of that league, other than the guys that have been there for quite some time. But the guys are the guys. They all want the same things. They all train the same way, and they all work hard. That we have a handful of guys. I tell you, I could run your tape out talking about guys on this team as far as my opinions of them, of how they work. The biggest thing on the numbers is the consistency with which they train, because they don't miss. Then they're here year-round all the time. Donnie Kyer set a record for squat. Mike Dana set a record for squat and vertical jump. Devin Spalding has just continued to make gains. Had great success with some of the DBs. Amari Coleman, Josh Cox, Sean Bunting have done a really, really good job maturing in as far as their training goes. We push very, very hard. But we don't do it to the point where they're not allowed to recover. The name of the game is recovery.
Jason Novak spends so much time with your team, and you credit him all the time, but just tell us what he's done for your program so far.
Well, he's had an unbelievable impact on all of our players, on our program, and in our whole department. There's no other position that is more important for a head coach than the strength coach, because that individual works with your whole team, and he also has an influence on the attitude and work ethic of the team. Jason simply is outstanding. I believe that we have the best strength coach, best strength staff in our conference and quite possibly the country.
A guy that certainly knows what he's talking about if you have a conversation with him, and certainly has helped your team out so far. Well, the Chippewas now move on. Next week, it's Ohio coming up, back into MAC play, and you had success against them last year. Remember, that 27-20 win. Ty Conklin had that great one-handed grab. Chippewas, your team and your program has won 3 straight against Ohio coming into this game, but it's another tough one on the road.
Yeah, it's going to be a long bus trip down there, mid-afternoon game. They're a team that's hot right now. They're 4-1 currently. They're always really, really good. I don't think there's a coach in the country that I have more respect for than Coach Solich and what he's been able to do in his tenure down there at Ohio U. And so, this will be an interesting week. It's a very important game for both teams, and we're going to have to prepare really hard, pick up our game a little bit to go down to Athens and try to get a victory.
Trying to get back in the win column against the MAC East favorites in Athens. It's a 2 o'clock start on Saturday. Coach, good luck to you and your team.
Thank you very much. Thanks for everybody for watching, and don't give up on us. We got a good football team. Fire up, Chips.
All right, well, we'll break down hopefully a win next week as the Chippewas take on the Bobcats. 2 o'clock again on Saturday. For Coach John Bonamego, I'm Adam Jackson. Have a terrific week, and fire up, Chips.